After a few days in Sesimbra, we continued on down to Sines, another beautiful little Portuguese town, roughly about 36.3 nautical miles.
So one of the disadvantages of having a rib for a dinghy, even though it folds up and sits on deck in that bag, and it's like really handy for when you're on passage because it packs up really small, but it is time consuming to put it up and to get it into the water. So if we arrive somewhere for like a day, we don't usually put it up, so we don't go ashore. Whereas today we're going to be here for like, I don't know, so we're going to be here like 3, 4, maybe 5 days. So to justify, it justifies putting this guy up. So what I do is usually I lie it on the side, pump one side up, and then I crane it over the side, leave it lying against the hull out of the water, and pump the other side up, and then drop it in the water and top it up as I need to. So it's mostly pumped up on this side. I've rigged up just like a bridle there, and then attach the spinnaker halyard to it, and then I'll just winch it up, push it over the side. Yeah, and the wind's coming from that way, so it kind of helped me. Yeah, and then go dinghying around the place and go to the beach and go and get some pints. So this is kind of where the flush deck comes into its own. Even though we've got all these 3 out of the forestay, the inner forestay and the baby stay, even though they're all in the way, there's a huge amount of space here on the deck. We were drying out the spinnaker because we dropped it in the water yesterday, and then we can do the dinghy up here as well, and it just gives us a lot of freedom. We can chill out there and go for naps and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get this guy up and then go to the beach. And that's what it ends up like. So she's fully inflated, hanging off the spinnaker halyard, and then we just drop it in, and we do the same with the engine. Bring the engine up. The engine is a bit dodgy because you have to reach around, bring it up on deck, walk it up here, crane it on. It's grand. So we might just row to shore today. So we're very close to the shore, so I think rowing would probably be the easier option than getting the engine out. The engine's more for if you need to go for like, I don't know, longer spins. Say if we were anchored that far away, I probably wouldn't row because the anchorage is there, and if worst case we need to go onto the marina with the dinghy, we can as well. So yeah, there's a little castle up there, there's a pub up there I want to go to, and there's a nice sandy beach, lovely clear water. Don't know if you can see it. So yeah, we'll put this spinnaker away and then we can go and do some adventuring.
After a lovely few days in Sines, paddleboarding and enjoying the beaches to ourselves, we headed down to our last stop, Portimao, which was to be our last stop for winter, roughly around 85 nautical miles.
So we're just leaving Sines.
Just waiting for a couple of our friends that are going to sail with us, and then going to Portimao and hang out there for some weather that's coming in from Gibraltar easterly, so we don't want to get caught up in that coming around the headland because we'll just be beating and I don't really want to do that. So we're going to come out of the harbour here slowly. It's supposed to be about 12 to 20 knots tonight, between 12 and 20. So 12 gusting 20. So it'll probably sit somewhere in the middle. And then hopefully tomorrow morning we'll be in Portimao for breakfast, or late breakfast or early lunch. Other side.
After a few days settled in Portimao, we decided to go for a few hikes along the coast. The coast is cluttered with all these amazing caves, little alcove beaches, absolutely stunning. The caves, the beaches, the water is just so pretty, so stunning for paddleboarding, swimming, hiking. We can't wait to explore some more of the area when we get back, and definitely would recommend to visit. This looks very aggressive, like the black color. So we're just getting the boat ready for winter.
We're kind of leaving the boat for a few months, so we have to take all the sails off because I don't really want to leave it like sitting here in the sun for 3 or 4 months. And we never know what's going to happen with COVID. They might like not be allowed back to the boat for a while. It's happened to a lot of sailors. They'll have their boat like in a foreign country, go home for Christmas, and then when COVID happened in 2020, they still haven't been back to their boats.
So we just take the Genoa off and whenever...
The Genoa off. We went for a quick sail to dry out the spinnaker and make sure all the sails are nicely aired out and there's no water in them. And we're just folding them up, putting them away until next season. It's only like, it takes a day, so it's not a big deal. Plus it's a good opportunity to check things for any damage or any wear and tear. There shouldn't be any because the sails are only like 5 months old. So yeah, crack on.
We also just took down part of our enclosure, so that's all going into storage, and we'll take the rest of this down in a few days as well. But other than that, we're going to get the mainsail down. Jenna's just been taken down and get all packed up, ready for winter. So we've just cleared the cockpit. Rhys is coming now with one of our many sails that we need to store away. Hi. So it's an empty looking Zora at the moment.
So we're about to we're like leaving this week. We're heading back to Ireland. Good news is I got my Irish citizenship approved, so that's done. But I still have to go home and get the passport and everything, and that can take a few months because of the backlog. Blah 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 blah. So they're still going to be away for quite a while. So all the sails are down, the enclosure's down. They're going to take the spray hood off. But another thing I want to do is to service the engine before we leave. Now the engine was already serviced like only 40 hours ago, maybe 50 hours ago, but it's a really bad idea to leave used oil, even partially used oil, in a boat or in the engine for over too long. So I'm going to change it. It might seem excessive, but it's a new engine and I don't really want to take any risks for the sake of a couple of litres of oil. So first thing we'll do, change out the oil, change the filter. I don't think I'll change the fuel filter, I don't think there's any need. I put some diptane in the tank. The fuel tank is full. You should never leave a fuel tank half empty or half full because you'll build up condensation and it'll get into the fuel and you'll have water in the fuel. So we filled it right up so there's no condensation can build in that. And then what I'll do is I'll run antifreeze or coolant through the raw water side. Now that sounds crazy because it's not going to freeze here. It's like the coldest it'll be here is 10-12 degrees, but and that's Celsius. But leaving salt water in the system or even fresh water in the system for long periods of time get corrosion in the system, blah blah blah. So what we're going to do is just run coolant through the raw water side. It'll flush all the salt out and it'll leave like a nice rust resistant fluid in that raw water side. So seems like a lot of work. It's not. It's a couple of hours work max. Check over the engine, change the zinc as well in the engine. There's a little sacrificial anode on the saltwater side. Yeah, we'll just go over the engine, make sure everything's alright, check all of the stuff, and yeah, we'll get to work. So the first step is to warm up the engine. I've got an old container here as well that I'm going to pump the oil into. Now most marine engines, or any engines that are in boats like this, have a little pump that goes down to the sump, because trying to collect the oil in the bilge, you never get something down there to collect all the oil. And because this is 9 litres of oil as well, dumping it into the bilge isn't an option. So it's got a little pump, so I need to wire, or I need to plumb up a little hose. Engine's nice and hot, the oil should flow nicely, and then it'll pump into this, be collected and disposed of wherever the disposal place is. Here, usually oil is put into these big tubs and then taken away, and they do whatever they do with it. So yeah, I'm gonna pump out the oil and then put new oil in, change the oil filter. It's that easy. So as you can see, I'm just pumping this fella up and down. It's going through a little hose. The engine's warm, so I'm sweating. And it does take quite a while to pump it all out. It's 9 litres in this engine. Yeah, luckily I don't have to change the gearbox oil until like 600 hours, I think, on the engine. The main reason you change it is, I didn't really mention it, was because used engine oil, like engine oil is designed to lubricate the engine, but it also takes like, I mean, you've got metal on metal right throughout the boat, or right throughout the engine, and the oil puts like a film between 2 pieces of metal, but sometimes there's always going to be a bit of wear, right? That's why engines wear out. You hear piston rings wearing out, and components that are moving all the time are always going to wear. So you have metal, tiny metal fragments in the oil, and that can cause problems if you leave it sitting in the bottom of an oil pan, you know, and it's just not good. So you always change the oil at the end of the season. Oh, it doesn't keep pumping. So this is nearly empty, and I was wondering why it was getting so hard to pull. I thought the oil isn't cooling down that fast. Forgot to take the dipstick out, so it's creating a vacuum in the engine, and obviously it was getting harder to pump it. So the air has to get in somewhere, and it usually comes through the dipstick to pump this out. So if you've got one of these, make sure you take the dipstick out, or you will end up being a dipstick like me. Yeah. So this is that little wasting zinc anode I was telling you about. So it protects the saltwater side of the engine from galvanic action. So you have zinc anodes on the outside of the boat to protect metal. Now this is what it's meant to look like, and to be honest, you're meant to check them every 6 months, or every every 6 months. After the first 25 hours and the first 50 hours. The engine's only been running for 4 months. It's completely gone. That is not good. So I'm not quite sure why that is, actually. That's kind of worrying. I might probably have to check with Beta. Maybe it isn't maybe it's broken off, because that didn't go in, so it's not going in. So that might have just broken off. So we're gonna have to disassemble this. Yeah, there's something going on there. I'm not sure what it is, but it seems, yeah, there's a blockage there. That's not good. So you see all the zinc bits of, so it's broken off at some point somehow. Yeah, we're gonna have to disassemble this. Ah, that's a bit of a pain. Okay, just let all the water drain out. So a bit of a strange one. The anode seems to have broken off, so it should look like this. That last video was a bit shaky because I was trying to figure out what was going on. It's supposed to look like this, but the anode appears to have broken off down at the bottom. because I can't get this one in. So I'm going to have to take off the tube stack cover, which is what that plugs into. It's kind of a good thing as well. Like it's bad in that there's probably a blockage now that it hasn't stopped the water going through the engine, so that's fine. And it's kind of good in the sense that there is a zinc still in there, like it hasn't worn all the way down. So I was kind of worried that there was like an electrical fault or something. Yeah, I don't know why it's broken off. So yeah, check these more often. I didn't check it often enough. I think we've done 150 hours or so. 160 hours, I think it's on the clock, since we put the engine in 4 months ago, which is quite a lot actually. But we did Biscay, and a lot of Biscay was motoring. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to sort that out. I'm going to put engine oil in the engine first and run it with the seacock closed just to pump any water out of the engine. I'll only run it for a few seconds just to get just to stop mess really in the bilge. I'm kind of waffling because I'm a little bit dumbstruck, but yeah, I'll get oil in the engine and then we'll go through that. So this is where the anode goes. And I'm just going to take off this assembly because the anode goes in here, and then we're going to have a look and see, because I especially want to make sure that nothing went into the tube stack. I should probably check that anyway, but just undo these fellas here. I didn't bother running the engine with the seacock closed. I don't think it's a good idea actually, but what I am going to do is flush it with fresh water soon and then put the coolant through it just to protect it from rust. I'll get this fella off and then be interested to see now what's happened. I reckon it's just broken off, which I just can't see how that's a very good thing. This bio in. So in here there's like it's called a tube stack. It's basically an element that sits in here that has all the tubes, like a stack of tubes basically. And what that does is carry salt water through these jackets, takes heat away from the coolant, the engine like closed circuit coolant, and then pushes it out the back at the exhaust. That's why you see it injects it up into the exhaust elbow, and then it flushes it, or it pushes it out the back with the exhaust gases, and that cools the engine. So in case you were wondering why water comes out the back of a boat, it's not the bilge pumps, which I used to think it was when I was a kid. Such an idiot. Just kidding. Right, I've almost got this off. I can see a few places as well that there's definitely like a leak of salt water in here. I think it's through the anti-siphon loop that stops the boat siphoning water in, and I think that's actually leaking a little bit. So there's a little bit of salt around the place. So let the water come out of this. Oh yeah, there's a lump of zinc in here, but it's all used up. So it was me being lazy and not checking the anode enough. But I would have thought that, like, that's completely dezinkified. That's completely gone. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I only used the engine for 4 months. Definitely something going on there anyway. I'm not sure. You can also see seaweed. So yeah, you should definitely check the tube stack every so often. Anyway, so yeah, it was definitely a bad owner in me not checking the zinc enough, but I can't figure out why that's wasted away so quickly. I should probably be checking that every like 100 hours or every 4 or 5 months, because I don't know, I can't figure it out. Gone, completely gone. And there was definitely a blockage there of seaweed on the tube stack. Okay, that's done. They say that like if I take this tube stack out, I have to replace the seals, and I don't have any. So I'll probably do that first thing when I get back from my sabbatical away from the boat. Yeah, okay, well look, we'll get on to Pisa and ask them why we've used up so much zinc. I'm sure you're really enjoying this video of a badly shot engine service, but anyway, you're keeping me company, that's the main thing. Okay, so put fresh oil in it, change the anode. I'll ask Beta about that. I've also changed the primary fuel filter, so the 30 micron fuel filter. The secondary or the engine fuel filter is fine, that's not due till 500 hours. What else? I think that's everything. Oh yeah, and the diesel or the oil filter as well, I changed that. We have a handy little service record here, so you always sign off what you're doing, write down what you've done at what hours and why. So this is the winter layup, done it at 170 hours, put the days in, who did it, and then I've changed engine oil filter, the engine filter, the engine oil filter, the anode, and the Raycor filter as well. So she should be good for the winter. So we'll run it up for a while, get the fresh oil through the engine and into all of the galleries rather, and then I'll start flushing the salt water out of the engine and can close the engine room.
So this is what Zora is currently looking like. We've moved off as of last night. In a few days we're going to be heading back to Ireland. So we've packed everything away, ready for a carpenter to come in and finish a bit of work for us while we're gone. So the galley is completely clean and empty. And what's going to happen is this room is going to be finally done, hopefully. So all new floor, storage, all the way back there, and a little bedroom as well. So then the galley as well, this is going to get cut back, so it's nice and flush with the rest of the galley. Pretty big galley for a boat, in fairness. And what else is getting done? So our heads in here, I've just done a big clean because we're going to be taking this toilet out. So this toilet's coming out, that's all getting redone. So floor is getting done. We're going to have a little cabinet, a sink, storage area, wet room, and then back there is going to be extra room for sails and stuff. So all this is going to finally get done. But yeah, we'll hopefully have this side of the boat completely done when we come back from Ireland. Well, we'll have loads of painting and varnishing and a bit of trimming and stuff to do, but aft cabin will be done and heads will be done, hopefully. Other than that, the rest of the boat is pretty much done. Well, right now it's not, because we've put everything into the forward locker or forward cabin, so our cushion's gone, we've got all our tools out that we need, all that. But bittersweet leaving the boat, but we'll be coming back to some finished work hopefully. So this would hopefully all be done, or semi-done. You know, the foundation will be there, and then we just kind of paint it, and we'll need to put in a shower and all the plumbing ourselves and stuff. But yeah, the time has come to leave Zora for a month, 2 months, a few weeks, we don't really know. So everything is packed up in the forward cabin. Pieces of our wood are left out, windows to be finished, plumbing stuff, bits in the galley to be finished. Yeah, it's a bit weird leaving her. You know, we only just got settled on her now. She's all a workshop again, but gotta do it.